Hello guitar friends. Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and it's time for another orc mode workout. And I hit Saturday and my legs reached the wall. That's the limit of my recovery. You know, it's kind of like the other day I said I didn't want to squat, and I went ahead and did it anyways and hit all my numbers, like my projected numbers. But it seems like right now when I get to Saturdays, I'm just out of steam. You know, doing the beltless high bar seems to really beat my legs up more. I've added cardio in a couple weeks ago, and I'm now doing cardio every day. Whew, I'm reaching that limit towards the end of the week. You know, a lot of people have asked me things who don't understand this training system. Do you ever recover? How do you recover? I'm like, well, you don't really fully recover. And it's just like, hopefully I don't exceed my maximum recoverable volume each week. But at this point, I'm kind of hammering that bleeding edge. And I can tell when Saturday gets here, when I go to do a 405 squat, which is normally part of my ramp up right before my heaviest set, when it turns into a max, and then my legs need to be massaged and everything afterwards, I need to soak them in a hot bath. I mean, that's the end of it. And if you guys watch this, I mean, this 405 squat, this is pretty much a max for me today. It shouldn't be, but it is. You know, it's like right now, that 6th day in a row of squatting. Particularly doing the back off work, because I do 2 back off sets most days, and I do list cardio later, and that's not counting walking my dog. My dog gets walked twice a day, but that has to be done when it's dark, because it's so hot right now in Houston that like it's just cruel to walk your dog out there in the heat. It really is, because the concrete can get so hot that it can actually burn their paws. So just, you know, have to be aware of that. A little side tangent, but yeah, that was pretty much a max for me. And so I went to do this back off triple. I dropped all the way down to 315 instead of my 367 and a half I've been doing for my back off work, and it was hard. Like, man, I still did it though, and that's what it comes down to with this style of training. There are going to be days when you can't hit your normal numbers. You come in and do what you can do. It's like John Bro says, if that means that you do the empty bar, then you come in and you squat the empty bar if that's all you can physically do, right? If the max is the empty bar, you come in and do a 1 rep max with the empty bar. It's about just following through with it. But I decided to go ahead and up my press today. Last week I did 5 sets with 195, so I decided to micro load, and I did 197 and a half beltless, right? 197 and a half. Well, I did 4 sets of 3, so that's not bad, actually. That's technically a volume PR, so we'll take it. So what I'm doing kind of with the press is, well, I would have changed it to this, except that I went beltless. Like, I had taken my 5-set PR with a belt and took the belt off and hit it last week. So we did 5x3 with 195. Well, this week I did 197 and a half for 4 sets of 3. So we almost reached that. It's just that that 4 set, it was getting tough. I was pretty well almost grinding at the end, and I realized if I tried to do a 5th set, I might fail. So this is a good spot to be. Is to go ahead and stop at 4, and we'll see if we can get 5 next week, right? And if we get 5 next week, we go to 200 next time, right? Just a nice slow progressive overload. So we increase with volume, and when we hit volume PRs, when we reach the desired volume, which for me is 5 sets, we add 2.5 pounds and keep moving forward, right? Just super slow linear progression, but I'm just undulating volume with intensity. So over time I just get better at it. But yeah, I do feel like the benching is carrying over to my press. The closed grip bench is carrying over to my press. Because as far as my volume goes, this is the highest volume I've really done on this. Yes, I know I'd been hitting a bunch of 1 rep maxes, and had been doing 225 pretty often as a max for a single. But again, when we start to do volume work, obviously you're going to have to go a little bit lighter, particularly when I'm doing more than 1 triple. So a lot of people say, isn't a triple around 90%? Shouldn't you be at a hair over 200? Yeah, if I did a max triple. But I'm doing multiple sets. So no, I'm not going to be able to do that. I'm going to be a little under 90% of my max. But, you know, this all goes up over time, and this carries over to a max. I mean, people need to realize that doing 4 or 5 triples with a weight that's fairly challenging, that if you increase on that, your max is going to go up on a lift. Have no doubt about that. You're going to gain muscle mass. You're gaining more proficiency the movement pattern on the lift while gaining the muscles involved in the lift, of course you're going to get stronger. So yeah, the max will go up. And I'm not worried. I don't have a projected max right now on this. I'm treating it as a once a week movement that I'm just coming in and doing heavy triples with. And I just want to get stronger at it. I'm just using it at this point to get my shoulder girdle stronger, to just keep building my shoulders and triceps and stuff up, because that will carry over to my other lifts. It will balance things out a little bit for my bench pressing, and just make the most of it, because it's the lift I'm doing once a week. I'm trying to get better at the bench again, so I'm needing to specialize in the bench more. So the press is fallen back from being something I was doing every day as a primary focus to treating it like an accessory movement. And that's fine. And really, it's not even, for a lot of people, this wouldn't even be an accessory. For this style of training, it's making it an accessory because I do volume triples instead of hitting maxes is more or less an accessory exercise, right? But by normal standards on most programs, if you're doing triples with a basic movement, that is not treating it like an accessory exercise. That's treating it like a primary movement. So it's really a matter of perspective. For this system, I'm treating it like an accessory. But the way I'm training it is still going to increase the max on it, right? Your max is going to go up. If your 3 rep max or your 5 set of 3 max goes up, your 1 rep max will go up. Because we're still dealing with that threshold of approaching 90%, and we're doing a lot of volume in the around 85%. When you're doing volume in the 85% to 90% range, you're definitely going to see increases on a max on an exercise. It'll have direct carryover immediately with the strength increases. But back to the other point, I decided to just chill with the rest of the day. I thought, okay, I'm not going to deadlift today. My legs are just really fatigued. I didn't do it on camera yet because I'm just getting this done. I'll probably do a few bodyweight chins. I did some bodyweight chins yesterday for the first time in a little while. Cranked out a few sets of 5. I might mess with some bodyweight chins today, some face pulls, maybe some cheek curls, just some play around stuff just to give the upper body some extra stimulation, my shoulders, biceps, all of that stuff. And do a bit more cardio today because I'm going to be a little lazier with the lifting and not deadlift. I may add a little more cardio in. And tomorrow's my off day. Tomorrow's just cardio. But all in all, there comes a point with this to where, I'm realizing my squat was down, my pressing is good, but my lower body's just shot for the week because I'm pretty well at my maximum recoverable volume. Now, it's important to, number one, recognize when you're at that situation, but it's also important for people to realize that you can train your work capacity. Work capacity is trainable, right? So you can be at a situation to where you are pushing the limits of your recovery, particularly for an area of your body. I mean, it could be systematic, but in this case, it's mostly my legs because I'm not hitting a wall at all on any of my pressing exercises. So it has to do with the fact that I'm squatting to a heavy single every day, doing back off work with squatting every day, deadlifting every day, and doing cardio every day, right? Well, the deadlifting most days, not every day now, 4 or 5 days a week. So it's an issue of I am at, as far as my quads and hips go, they're at their maximum recoverable volume. It doesn't mean that's where the volume stays. People have this weird idea that is like a fixed number. Oh, you only have so much recovery ability. That's not true. It's trainable over time, and particularly now that I've added back off work in, I've been adapting to the back off work. I've added cardio back in. I'll adapt to the cardio. Those things will over time improve your work capacity. They'll improve your work capacity. So what seems like an impossible amount of work to recover from at any given point in your training, if you're careful and you slowly increase work capacity over time, you might find 6 months down the road that your work capacity is 30 or 40% higher and your maximum recoverable volume is higher than it had been before that, right? You'll find these things increase over time. It's not a fixed number. It's very dynamic. And that's why it's important to kind of know where you are at any given time, because if you're training up near your maximum recoverable volume, and let's say you back the work down just a little bit so you recover, and then you just stay there, you're leaving a lot of potential gains on the table. You're losing gains for that, because if your work capacity increases over time, your capacity to stimulate further adaptation will increase over time. And if you don't ever push back up and start finding those limits again, you won't actually actualize your potential. So it's important to kind of butt the edge of that limit every now and then to see where you are and to push it a little bit so that you can train it to improve over time. Just something that people need to keep in mind with that. So a lot of people would see what I'm doing and say, well, if you're reaching that limit, you need to back off, 10% or 20%. No, I don't think I do. I just need to not exceed where I'm at right now, and then hopefully over time I can keep building the work capacity. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.